In October 2025, Zimbabwe's ruling party, Zanu-PF, passed a controversial resolution at its 22nd Annual National People's Conference in Mutare, calling for the extension of President Emmerson Mnangagwa's term of office from 2028 to 2030. Dubbed Resolution Number 1, this move has ignited intense debate across political, legal, and civil society circles. While the resolution was passed with fanfare and applause from party loyalists, its implications stretch far beyond internal party politics, touching on constitutional law, succession battles, and the future of Zimbabwe's democracy. Resolution Number 1 was passed at a non-elective conference, which is significant. Unlike Zanu-PF's Congress, which meets every 5 years and holds the authority to elect the party's presidential candidate, the annual People's Conference lacks binding power over leadership selection. Legal experts, including advocate Thabani Mpofu, have argued that the resolution is unlawful and ultra-vires the party's constitution, which stipulates that only Congress can elect or re-elect the president and first secretary of the party. Despite this, the resolution was presented as a reaffirmation of a similar proposal from the 2024 conference, with directives issued to the Minister of Justice and Secretary for Legal Affairs, Ziyambi Ziyambi, to begin the legislative process to implement the extension
achieved under the leadership of the President and First Secretary of Zanu-PF, His Excellency Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa. It is resolved that his term of office as President of the Republic of Zimbabwe be extended beyond 2028 to 2030. The party and government are therefore directed to initiate.
Zanu-PF's justification for the extension centres on Mnangagwa's visionary leadership and the need for continuity to achieve Vision 2030, a national development agenda aimed at transforming Zimbabwe into an upper-middle-income economy. The party cited achievements in infrastructure, agriculture, and mining as reasons to retain Mnangagwa beyond his constitutionally mandated 2 terms. Supporters argue that extending Mnangagwa's term would ensure policy continuity and prevent disruption of ongoing development projects. Some commentators have even framed the move as a constitutional step towards stability. Under Zimbabwe's 2013 constitution, Section 91(2) clearly limits a president to 2 terms, whether consecutive or not. Mnangagwa, having served since 2018, is due to step down in 2028. To extend his term, Zanu-PF would need to amend this section, a process governed by Section 328, which outlines stringent requirements. Gazetting the amendment. The proposed changes must be published for at least 90 days. Public consultations. Parliament must conduct nationwide hearings and invite written submissions. Parliamentary approval. A 2/3 majority in both the National Assembly and Senate is required. Referendum. If the amendment affects term limits, a national referendum must be held and passed by a majority vote. Moreover, Section 328(7) prohibits an incumbent from benefiting from amendments to term limit provisions made during their tenure. This means that even if the Constitution is amended, Mnangagwa cannot legally benefit unless he resigns and is re-elected under the new rules, a scenario fraught with political risk. Some legal scholars, like Professor Jonathan Moyo, have argued that Zanu-PF could bypass the referendum by amending the length of the term, e.g. from 5 to 7 years, rather than the number of terms. However, this interpretation remains highly controversial and would likely face legal challenges. The resolution has exposed deep factional divisions within Zanu-PF, particularly between Mnangagwa loyalists and those aligned with Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. Chiwenga, who played a pivotal role in the 2017 coup that ousted Robert Mugabe and installed Mnangagwa is widely seen as the heir apparent. However, the push for Mnangagwa's extension is viewed by Chiwenga's camp as a betrayal of an informal succession agreement. Reports indicate that Chiwenga has refused to endorse the 2030 agenda and has instead launched a counter-offensive, including submitting a dossier to the Politburo accusing Mnangagwa's allies, particularly businessman Kudakwashe Tagwire, of corruption and party capture. Chiwenga's silence on the resolution has been interpreted as strategic, allowing him to consolidate support within the military and war veterans while avoiding direct confrontation. His allies, such as Blessed Geza, have used social media platforms to denounce the extension campaign, though calls for mass protests have been muted due to heavy police presence. Interestingly, Mnangagwa himself has not publicly endorsed the extension. In recent speeches, he has emphasized his commitment to constitutionalism and the scheduled 2028 elections. At a Central Committee meeting, he urged party members to prepare for the 2028 polls, signalling a possible retreat from the 2030 agenda. This ambiguity may be a tactical move to maintain unity within the party while allowing loyalists to test the waters. It also reflects Mnangagwa's awareness of the legal and political risks associated with the term extension. The fact that the resolution was passed at a non-elective conference significantly undermines its legitimacy. According to Zanu-PF's constitution, only Congress has the authority to elect the party's presidential candidate. The next Congress is scheduled for 2027, and any decision regarding Mnangagwa's candidacy beyond 2028 must be made there. This procedural limitation means that Resolution Number 1 is more of a political signal than a binding directive. It serves to rally Mnangagwa's base and test internal resistance, but it cannot override constitutional or party rules. Opposition parties and civil society groups have condemned the resolution as a power grab and a threat to democracy. Legal experts have warned that any attempt to bypass constitutional procedures will face court challenges. Activists have called for vigilance and mass mobilization to defend the constitution. The economic context adds another layer of complexity. Zimbabwe continues to grapple with hyperinflation, unemployment, and currency instability. Critics argue that the focus on extending Mnangagwa's term reflects misplaced priorities, with the ruling party more concerned about power retention than addressing the country's pressing challenges. Zanu-PF's resolution. Number 1 to extend President Mnangagwa's term to 2030 is a politically charged and constitutionally complex initiative. While framed as a move to ensure stability and development, it has exposed deep factional rifts within the ruling party and raised serious legal questions. Vice President Chiwenga's likely resistance, combined with Mnangagwa's ambiguous stance and the procedural limitations of a non-elective conference, suggest that the resolution is far from a done deal. The path to implementation would require constitutional amendments, public consultations, and possibly referendums, each fraught with political risk and legal scrutiny. Ultimately, the resolution reflects the broader struggle within Zanu-PF over succession, power consolidation, and the future of Zimbabwe's governance. Whether Mnangagwa steps down in 2028 or remains until 2030 will depend not only on party dynamics, but also on the resilience of Zimbabwe's constitutional order. Thank you for watching, like, share, and subscribe,